Welcome. Thank you all for coming together this Shabbat morning. Welcome. Good Shabbos. As we gather here on ground that was inhabited for thousands of years by indigenous peoples and then brutally occupied and colonized by European settlers, we pay our respect to the original inhabitants, their ancestors, and the land itself. We want to welcome everyone today who is here to honor and remember their ancestors who perished in the Nazi Holocaust. Welcome. We want to welcome everyone who is here to honor and remember their ancestors who survived the Nazi Holocaust. Welcome. We welcome everyone who has come today as an ally and friend. Welcome. We welcome our Palestinian friends, family, siblings, and neighbors who have joined us today. Welcome. If you have come here today as a Jewish member of the community who is grieving, angry, and maybe confused, welcome. We welcome all members of faith communities. Welcome. We welcome any community members here today who have family in Israel. Welcome. We welcome all of our BIPOC neighbors, friends, and loved ones here today. Welcome. We welcome all those here today who traveled to our community in search of safety from political persecution, violence, and poverty. Welcome. And I want to especially welcome my friends from Jewish Voice for Peace who have traveled here from all over Vermont and New Hampshire. Welcome. We are here today to commemorate the genocide of our Jewish community in World War II and to bring it into conversation with what's happening right now. When we thought about how we want to mark this day, we wanted to not only remember the horrors of the past and honor our community, but create an act of healing with our community. We wanted to stand with a diverse array of our friends, neighbors, and leaders to feel what it means to be in community. We know that the safety for our Jewish community will never come through the perpetuation of hypervigilance and fear that can lead to putting up barriers or walls, or worse, the displacement and killing of Palestinians. We understand that Jewish hatred still exists. Some of us have personal experience with acts of hate. But we reject the notion that our safety is more important than Palestinian safety. And we know deep in our bones that we will not be free until everyone is free. So we want to join with you all and stand together. We want to support us all to bear witness to each other's grief and pain, to find in each other support, understanding, respect, and solidarity. This is the road to safety for us all. And I just want to say a word about some people have questioned what we're trying to do today, saying that we're trying to equate equivalency between acts of violence. And that is not what we're doing today. We are not saying that the violence happening today in Gaza is the same as the Nazi Holocaust in the 1940s. We are not saying that the pain experienced by one people is the same as the pain experienced by other people. We're not making equations. This is not a competition of suffering. But we're here to hold it all and to acknowledge it all. We envision a world where all people, from the U.S. to Palestine, live in freedom, justice, equity, equality, and dignity.
Like generations of Jewish leftists before us, we fight for the liberation of all people. We believe that through organizing, we can and will dismantle the institutions and structures that sustain injustice and grow something new, joyful, beautiful, and life-sustaining in their place.
We picture the concrete of the apartheid wall in pieces on free Palestinian soil. We picture Israeli jails, prisons, and detention centers emptied and dismantled. We picture the return of Palestinian refugees, reuniting with their families and communities. We picture Palestinians, from the Jordan River to the Mediterranean Sea, living with their inalienable rights respected, building schools and hospitals, and planting olive groves with the resources they need.
We imagine Jewish Israelis released from conscripted violence against Palestinians, free from dehumanizing others, which in turn diminishes their own humanity. We imagine Jewish Israelis joining Palestinians to build a just society, rooted in equality rather than supremacy, dignity rather than domination, democracy rather than dispossession, a society where every life is precious.
Throughout the Jewish diaspora, we envision our communities beginning to heal from the Zionist movement's attempts to dilute and erase many of our diasporic histories, languages, and traditions. We envision replacing Jewish institutions that use fear to keep us in line, and the proliferation of thriving and vibrant Jewish communities, building safety for ourselves and all our neighbors, grounded in a vision of dignity, power, and love for all people.
I wanted to just let you all know we have laid out today these red poppies that we made. Each poppy represents 100 people who have been killed since October 7th. This blooming flower represents the color of the Palestinian flag and is often displayed as a sign of solidarity with Palestinians and represents their connection with the land itself, which is currently being destroyed.
Today is both the Sabbath and a day of mourning in an ocean of days of mourning. Blessings are a ritual of noticing and letting the good things and the terrible things wash over us. I am noticing that it is the first time that we are all gathered here like this in this configuration, and so I invite all of us who know it to say the Shehechianu with me, the blessing that we all have arrived to reach this day, which is a precious occurrence that so very many people are not afforded.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, shehechianu v'kiyamanu v'higianu lazman hazeh.
Amen.
Say shalom bimroma, say shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. I'm gonna do one more time. Okay, one more time. One more time. Now you know it, okay? Say shalom bimroma, yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. Yaseh shalom,
Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu Ve'Kol Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu Ve'Kol Yisrael.
We are here today as descendants of Holocaust survivors, among other descendants. We are here with you today to commemorate the tenacity and survival of our ancestors, to honor them by doing the work that is asked of us, and which is ours to do, to fight for a free Palestine.
We are here in particular on this day to understand that our survival and our future is interwoven with all peoples who have survived and continue to survive genocide. We also acknowledge that while the suffering of our European Jewish ancestors is widely remembered and honored, it is not exceptional. The majority of genocides committed and enabled by the United States and Europe against Black and Indigenous people around the world, including Palestine, including against the original people of the land where we stand right now, are largely uncommemorated and ongoing.
We are here because it is incumbent upon us. In our cellular memories, in our strength of muscle and bone, we hear the words of our scholars, that we are not required to complete the work, but neither are we free to abandon it.
We are here today in struggle alongside Palestine. We seek to speak for our people and the values of Judaism, the pursuit of justice, and on its heels, peace.
We do not speak today as individuals, as singular offspring of survivors of the Shoah. We are here collectively as descendants
Of refugees,
Of concentration camp survivors,
of those who went into hiding in eastern Poland,
who went on foot from Austria to Jerusalem,
who boarded ships only to wait in limbo on the waters of a country that may or may not receive them.
We speak as one for those who had no descendants, for the family lines wiped out entirely.
we know as descendants of survivors that we make choices when we emerge from the crucible. We can blend in, assimilate, become what we have survived, believing that it will help us survive. We can take on the form and behavior of the oppressors.
Or we can remember what we wish we did not have to remember. The pain of ostracism, the kidnapping, the starvation, the bombs, the gas, the firing squads, the loved ones disappeared forever. We can choose to feel this, to metabolize it, and to continue the healing work of grief where our grandparents were unable to or where they left off. In facing this pain, we are moved to action for the safety and freedom of the people of Palestine. In the blessed memory of our grandparents, we call for immediate ceasefire and an end to U.S. aid for Israel's genocide.
As grandchildren of descendants, we are afforded a kind of generational breathing room from fear and vigilance, able to breathe in the possibility of safety and solidarity in ways that many of our ancestors were not. We no longer stand in the streets of the Nazi occupation, and while it remains true that anti-Jewish hatred is alive and well, our lives are not enveloped by the constant danger that haunts our body memories. We know now what keeps us safe is us, is our relationships, our networks of care across time, across space, land, borders, culture.
Zionist propaganda has weaponized Jewish suffering, appropriated our experiences of anti-Semitism, exploited our grief for power, control, land, and resources. No institution of Holocaust remembrance, no museum or memorial or exhibition can be an effective or sacred expression of grief if it dismisses Palestinian lives, if it is used as a weapon to annihilate Gaza.
The safety we as Jews now know daily owes nothing to the state of Israel. Israel does not keep Jews safe, nor does it safeguard the values, practices, and precious histories of Judaism. Nor does the violent empire of the United States keep us safe. We know that this country fans the flames of white nationalism, endangering Jews and so many other residents of this continent. Where does our safety come from now and in the world to come? Our safety comes from us and from acting now to ensure that all people are able to live free from violence.
We choose solidarity, We choose to find resilience in each other. Now and until the end of human beings, it is our togetherness that keeps us safe. Inspired by the incredible spirit of the people of Palestine, we remember and recognize that resistance to oppressive circumstances is a human right, an imperative. Indeed, as much as it is a mitzvah to break the Sabbath in order to save a life, we believe in the mitzvot necessary for liberation.
Jewish histories of resistance are long and fierce. To name only a few, please hold up your sign of resistance if you have one. These are just
Cardboard signs.
Cardboard signs. Yeah. These are just a few of the names of memories of people who have resisted as Jews against oppressive circumstances here. And there are countless unnamed ones who smuggled letters, bread, medicines, weapons, children. Our grandparents' survival of Kristallnacht, of Dachau, of the Warsaw Ghetto, of Treblinka were experiences of collective care. We did not survive on our own, or because of empires, or nations, or armies. Although the war ended by way of military might from Western countries, that is not the story of our survival. Our people survived because our neighbors brought us urgent messages,
Forged us documents,
Smuggled us to boats bound for the Philippines.
hid us in attics,
brought us baskets of eggs and milk,
Handed us pocket knives and maps and woolen layers.
Non-Jews risked their lives and homes and families for us, and we must do the same by caring for those who now face the kinds of horrors our people have faced. We know what is at stake, and we know how to resist.
What is at stake is millions of Palestinian lives and precious culture and lifeways.
What is at stake is the violation of our traditions for an illusion of safety.
what is at stake is our own souls.
We would not have survived if people had not shown up for us, and now we must show up for Palestine.
Diaspora taught us to decentralize, to adapt, to turn towards each other. In diaspora, Rabbinic Judaism no longer oriented around the priest and the temple. The village became the site of the holy, the home central to spiritual practice, the house of prayer also the house of study. Fundamentally relational, our Jewish practice sought the divine in new geographies through learning and arguing, interpretation and complexity, accepting the unknown, tolerating and transmuting discomfort.
We are a diasporic people, and these are our treasures. Myriad blessings, melodies, golems, uses for garlic, recipes for dumplings, ways of understanding a text. In diaspora, we find ourselves in the practice of doikite, here-ness, on lands worth learning, loving, and protecting, and in community, shoulder to shoulder with survivors of other atrocities.
May we be a people who celebrate the many threads of our histories.
May we seek belonging in ourselves, in each other's, and our ancestors.
May we be a people who do not steal land, demolish houses, raise olive orchards, or appropriate lifeways in order to be at home with ourselves.
May we be a people adept at carrying our traditions and making home amongst strangers. And may we not have to enact our trauma on others to survive.
May we be a model of resilience, of adaptability, of backbone, of steadiness and transformation.
May we show up for Palestine in a time of pain and need, as many have shown up for us.
Many of our grandparents were not able to express the suffering they carried. We learned of their grief from sharp, vast silences. When they died, our grandmothers left behind letters riddled with typos like punctuations of pain, harboring never-spoken stories. They left us the sweater of a lost baby gone for 6 decades, a tiny woolen folded in a drawer, carried across an ocean. We listen carefully for what the dead have to tell us. The work of remembering is the work of justice. We offer this work to our ancestors, many of whom could not pursue it, while cornered in the narrow place of trauma.
We do this work to care for unsettled spirits, to disrupt the propaganda issued in their names, to speak the stories they could not utter, to reclaim the prayers they felt compelled to abandon, to help their souls be well and rest.
We invite our people and ancestors, allies, and would-be resistors to collectively face the fear we have inherited, to do our ancestors' memories honor, by fighting for the liberation owed to them and to the Palestinian people. We refuse the Zionist notion that standing with Palestine means abandoning our Judaism. We do not abandon our family histories in order to resist. Our sacred grief strengthens us, fortifies our courage and resolve, warms us in the light of struggle.
Every life is sacred, every breath a holy expression, every one of us a child of the divine.
We know this because our ancestors whisper this to us.
We know this because Jewish tradition teaches this first.
And we know this because Palestine must be free. A free Palestine frees us all.
Not in our name. 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 Ceasefire now. 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 Free Palestine. 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 Not in our name. 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 Not in our name.
In the book of Exodus, we receive the practice of the Mishkan. This is the tent of meeting, a makeshift, portable, earthly dwelling in which we tend to our spiritual self and to the divine. The Mishkan is a thing of diaspora, for wanderers, for those of us who are making do, for being at home wherever we are. We have this practice to create space for ourselves where we are, and I invite all of us to co-create this Mishkan, to create a sacred space in which we can mourn our dead. In this prayer, in the Mourner's Kaddish for our beloved dead, the words over and over beg for peace and praise the names of God. If the name of God is change, and the name of God is love, and the name of God is justice, may the praises in these verses remind us that the pain of loss is equal to the magnitude of the love that came before it. So if you'd like to say it all together, here we are. Yikadal v'yikadash shemei rabbah. V'yalmad divrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei. V'chayachon u'v'yamechon u'v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael. V'agala u'v'zman kariv v'imru. Amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevarach le'olam u'amei al-mayah. Yibarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudusha b'richu. Le'ila min kol birchata b'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechamata. Damiran v'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya. V'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'kol yoshvei tevel v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav. Hu yaseh shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Thank you.
We wanted to share with you all something that many of us are very inspired by, a concept from our ancestors in the Jewish Labor Bund, which was a massive internationalist, socialist, Jewish organization, started in Poland but then spanned through Russia. And it really came, in the early 20th century, and was building worker solidarity throughout the diaspora. And the Jewish Labor Bund had the concept of Doigkeit. And we have a beautiful ancestor here sharing this concept with us all. And this concept, Doigkeit, means here-ness. And the Jewish Labor Bund was working really at the same time that the Zionist movement was developing and was really a counter-political force at that time. While the Zionist movement was working to convince as many people to leave Europe, that it was not safe, that we would never be safe, we need to leave, we need our own place, and encouraging, facilitating, negotiating folks moving to Palestine. Folks involved with the Bund were promoting this concept of Deutschkeit. We are a diasporic people, have been for millennia, and where we find ourselves, where we live, we are here. Let us be here. Let us build community here where we are. Let's know our neighbors. Let's know our allies. And let's promote a sense of here-ness in our community. And for many of us, we find a lot of inspiration and strength in that and relevance to our lives today. This concept is just as true today as it was in the early 1900s. So thank you all for being here with us today as we build an expression of Deutschkeit. Thank you all again for joining us today. We have listened, we have grieved, we have sang, we have offered prayers, we have danced, and we have spoken. Let us hold this feeling of community in our hearts. To our Palestinian, Indigenous, immigrant, and BIPOC community members, please know we have your back. We know that right-wing hate is on the rise in the United States, across Europe, and in Israel. We fight white supremacy and hate not with walls or bombs, but with the insurmountable power of community and mutual support. Let us remember that the path towards safety is by knowing our neighbors, reaching out across differences to listen, learn, and support each other. This is true here in Vermont, and this is true in Palestine and in Israel. Only by reaching out to each other with respect, honesty, and an open heart can we build the future we envision, a beloved community where all are free. Thank you for being part of our community. Thank you all.
This poem is called V'ahavta. Say these words when you lie down and when you rise up, when you go out and when you return, in times of mourning and in times of joy. Inscribe them on your doorposts, embroider them on your garments, tattoo them on your shoulders, teach them to your children, your neighbors, your enemies, recite them in your sleep. Here, in the cruel shadow of empire, another world is possible.
Thus spoke the prophet Roque Dalton. Altogether they have more death than we, but altogether we have more life than they. There is more bloody death in their hands than we could ever wield, unless we lay down our souls to become them, and then we will lose everything. So instead,
imagine winning. This is your sacred task. This is your power. Imagine every detail of winning. The exact smell of the summer streets in which no one has been shot. The muscles you have never unclenched from worry gone soft as newborn skin. The sparkling taste of food when we know that no one on earth is hungry, that the beggars are fed, that the old man under the bridge and the woman wrapping herself in thin sheets in the back seat of a car and the children who suck on stones nest under a flock of roofs that keep multiplying their shelter. Lean with all your being towards that day when the poor of the world shake down a rain of good fortune out of the heavy clouds and justice rolls down like waters.
defend the world in which we win as if it were your child. It is your child. Defend it as if it were your lover. It is your lover. When you inhale and when you exhale, breathe the possibility of another world into the 37.2 trillion cells of your body until it shines with hope. Then imagine more.
Imagine rape is unimaginable. Imagine war is a scarcely credible rumor. That the crimes of our age, the grotesque inhumanities of greed, the sheer and astounding shamelessness of it, the vast fortunes made by stealing lives, the horrible normalcy it came to have is unimaginable to our heirs, the generations of the free.
Don't waver. Don't let despair sink its sharp teeth into the throat with which you sing. Escalate your dreams, make them burn so fiercely that you can follow them down any dark alleyway of history and not lose your way. Make them burn clear as a starry drinking gourd over the grim fog of exhaustion and keep walking.
Hold hands, share water, keep imagining,
so that we and the children of our children's children may live.